Well, hello there again, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Grab your cup of coffee and a seat because I'm Paulie and this is Paulie's Power Hour. Alright, so this upload is going to come on a Wednesday. So here's my thing. We're going to do something different. I'm still going to work on cars, and we're going to work on cars together. We're actually going to start going to car shows, believe it or not, finally. And I'm going to do a new thing on Wednesdays. So Friday is going to be my upload where, you know, it's the big whatever we did during the week, and we worked on cars, whatever, right? So Wednesday is going to be like a short, like a advice column or a tool review, or in this case, finally, a video that my buddy has been hounding me to make since I announced the idea of coming up with a YouTube channel. And it's things to look for when you get a used car. Bobby, here it is, finally. Like 4 years later, or however long I've been doing this, right? If you go back in some of my comments on my older videos, he'll be in there and he'll be like, hey, when are you going to tell me how to buy a used car? So here we are. So what we're going to use for this is the wife's 2009 Mazda 3. Now, the way I figure it is, this thing's about the age now where those of you that are just getting your license, or you need something quick, cheap, and easy for transportation, that this is something that would be in your price range, within your wheelhouse, for fuel efficiency, for price, for reliability, whatever. Because, I mean, let's face it, this car is a 2009 and it's 2022. So there's stuff to be seen and looked at, right? So I made a little listy list, kind of like an outline here that I'm going to read and go off of when I talk about this. All right, so you're 16, 17, 15, whatever, you're looking for your first car, right? Or you're just looking for a car. The one thing I advise to do is get on Marketplace, get on wherever, and start looking at what's within your price range, what's reasonable, okay? So we're gonna say that you 100% desire a 2009 Mazda 3, all right? So the first thing you should do is get on Kelley Blue Book, okay? It's a website that gives you, it used to be a book, that's why it's called Kelley Blue Book, right? And it used to have, by manufacturer, make and model, values of used cars per mileage and stuff like that. It was a little blue book, hence the name. It was Kelley's Blue Book, right? But now it's a website, just like everything else in the world today. So get on there, type in 2009 Mazda 3, you know, the mileage you're looking for, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and that's going to give you a baseline idea of how much you should look to save, spend, whatever on this car. Okay. If not, then, you know, you might not have enough, or you might get hornswoggled. And the whole point of this video is to avoid you being hornswoggled, okay? Stay with me. So, say you find this 09 Mazda 3, right? It's on Facebook. You get in touch with the seller, and the seller says, yes, you can come look at it. The first thing you ask for is the VIN. Now, a lot of times on Facebook Marketplace, the VIN is in the ad. So take the VIN and go on Carfax. I'm sure you've seen commercials for that, right? And look up the Carfax on the vehicle. Usually you can get at least one or two free before you have to pay, log in, sign in, whatever. So when you do that, that's going to tell you accuracy of the mileage, right? Because maybe somebody swapped the odometer or swapped the gauge cluster in this one with a car that had significantly less or significantly more mileage, right? Maybe this car only has 115,000 miles on it, but I swapped an odometer or a gauge cluster into it where the odometer read 215,000. I wouldn't do that. That's dumb, right? But still, more for it might have 215,000 miles, but the odometer says 115 because they swapped it going the other way. So that's what we want to avoid. Also, accidents, right? The number of accidents a car has been in, even if you can't tell 100%, there's still some lingering damage, okay? Especially on newer cars because they're made to crumple. Now, this car has been in a couple accidents. Mostly not her fault, but she got rear-ended once. All right, they had to replace the hatch. That's why the spoiler looks like this, because the insurance company paid for cheap paint. All right, so this, all that had to be repainted, re-cleared, and it looks like booty cheeks. So yeah, we'll get to that later, right? So accidents. You want to make sure the car hasn't been in too many accidents, or even worse, that it's been totaled. Okay, because if it's totaled, then it has a rebuilt title, and then really it's worth whatever you want to pay for it. I don't care what kind of car it is. All right, if it has a salvage title, don't pay what Kelley Blue Book or whatever says for it. Okay, because not worth it. All right, so you run the Carfax. Carfax is good, and you make an appointment to go see the car. The first thing you tell them when you want to go see it, damn fly. The first thing you tell them when you want to go see it is that you want it cold. You do not want them to run the car before you get there. Why? Because a lot of newer vehicles have timing belts or timing chains, and the tensioners for these are oil pressure driven. So when you start a vehicle cold and you hear the tack, 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 tack of a slapping timing chain, most notorious on Fords and some Toyotas, right? That is an indication that either you might have a clogged oil passage, low initial oil pressure, or that tensioner is just on its way out, right? Or excessive slap in the chain, right? So those are things that you want to do. And when you get there, you want to look at it, all right, and just take a cursory look under the hood. Make sure there's nothing leaking or anything like that. Look underneath it, right? And what I would do is I would go and I would grab each of these hoses, okay, to make sure that they're not hard or brittle or spongy or anything like that, right? So, you know, your upper and lower radiator hoses, your heater hoses, all right, you want to touch all of them to make sure. Then you want to look at your belt. All right, now, yeah, you're buying this car. You're probably going to have to fix some things on it. This is true. But this is stuff that you should be able to drive this thing away. And if it explodes on your way home, then that's no bueno, folks. So just, you know, give a cursory look. Make sure nothing's pouring oil out anywhere, okay? As you can see, this car has been pretty well taken care of. Thanks, I did that. All right, now, wires. All right, the other thing too is you want to look at all the wires under the hood. You want to make sure there aren't any errant wires just going nowhere, all right? On a vehicle that hasn't really been messed with a whole lot or has been properly maintained, you shouldn't have that. You shouldn't have just blank empty wires going all over the engine bay. Don't do that, that's not good, right? Then you want to ask for service receipts, okay? I have a folder inside with all of the receipts for parts that I've bought for this car. Mostly for warranties, because I don't know if we're ever going to sell this. And then I write on the inside cover of my Chilton's manual the mileage and when I do things to the car. Just so I have a reference. So when something happens, I can be like, man, didn't I just change that? But whatever, right? So, cold, hoses, wires, battery. You want to check the battery for corrosion, okay? A lot of times you're going to have, right? So you want to make sure there's no white fluffy stuff on your battery, okay? That's bad. And you want to look at your terminals. Make sure your terminals are tight, and make sure you're just not going to have any issues. And also, a lot of the batteries have stickers on them with the date. This one apparently doesn't, because I'm not sure where we got this one from. I don't remember. I might not have been here when we got the battery for this. But you definitely want to check the battery. Again, you're buying the car, right? You're spending money on it, and then you don't want to have to immediately put a battery into it. Doesn't make sense, right? All right, service history, I already talked about it. All of your noted discrepancies, like look at the body, okay? If you look at Kelley Blue Book for like a outstanding or superior shaped car, whatever the highest rating is, right? And then you see, you know, stuff like this. And obviously, you're gonna have to paint it, right? If you want it to look nice. Some people don't care, but that's fine, right? All these noted discrepancies, a leaky hose, a leaky this, something that the seller did not disclose in their advertisement, then I would subtract that from your price, okay? So say they want $3 grand for the car, But you know, you start looking at parts. Oh, I need to put a battery in it. I need to do hoses. I need to do plugs. I need to do a belt. I need to do this. Start looking at all those parts and then subtract that from the price. That's what I would do, right? Now, we get in the car. And this is the first fire up, right? Because the car should be cold. So you put the key in, turn the key on, all right? And you want to note the mileage. This car has a lot of miles on it. That's why I said this car owes us nothing. So you want to turn the key on, right? And you want to make sure that all the lights and everything work in here, right? Make sure the inside of this car is pretty darn well taken care of. Yeah, I did that too. So then you want to start the car. You want to listen for any weird noises, okay? I don't hear anything. Timing chain sounds good. You want to turn the wheel back and forth. All right, you want to hear for any clicks or pops. All right, and then you want to look at your gauge lights. All right, so I have an airbag light on. I already ran the codes on that, and it's actually it's that curtain airbag over there. I need to find a new one. So once I replace that, then that light will go out. Right, then the door is open, and the seatbelt light. Okay, the brake light is on because our parking brake is on. So the first thing I would do is test the parking brake. So put it in reverse and let off on the brake. Put her in drive, let off on the brake, right? That tests the parking brake. Some of you might live in a state where an inspection is a thing, like Pennsylvania, where I'm from, okay? So parking brake, working or not working, means the car is going to fail inspection or pass inspection. So if that's something you're going to have to fix, subtract that off the price. Get it off that price, all right? So I'm not going to drive it because I have it in the garage because I'm going to work on it, right? So you're going to drive it, right? You're going to inspect the rest of the inside of the car. You're going to inspect the rest of the outside of the car. And then you're going to make a deal, right? Trouble areas on front-wheel drive cars, I don't expect you to bring a jack with you, but you can hear when you turn the wheel when you're driving it, whether or not you have like a bad CV axle or something like that. If the car has like 200,000 miles on it and the owner says the CV axles were never replaced, I would budget that because they're probably going to need to be replaced. This car, I'm actually going to change the CV axles on it because the boots are torn and all the grease is out of it and now they're clicking. That's the most common failure. Obviously, you know, you want to smell inside the car, make sure there's no leaks, test your windows, test the wipers, test all your lights. Just make sure everything works so you don't get what I call hornswoggled, or what Southern people call hornswoggled, right? And just keep in mind that I would say, so say the guy wants $3,000 for the car and you've got $3,000 cash, but the car is going to need $600 worth of parts. Say you don't work on it and that price is just $300, you could probably estimate about an hour's worth of labor per part, plus or minus, depending, right? So just an estimate. If it's, you know, $300 for the parts and it's 3 parts and it's 3 hours each and $100 per hour for labor, so that's $600 right there. I would subtract that off the price. So now we're down to like $2,200. It might need tires, right? You look at it and the guy says fresh tires, but you look at them and you're like, no way, dude, I need tires. You can budget about $100 a tire for tires. This car, you can see the brakes. If you look inside the wheel there, you can see how much meat is left on the brake pads, right? So again, if the brake pads are pretty worn, you're gonna budget that into your repair fund, your repair bill, right? And that is gonna come off the price. Now, don't expect to get the thing for $1,000. That's not gonna happen. You're probably gonna have to make some concessions somewhere, and that's fine. Just know that these are things that you're gonna have to fix. So if you end up getting the car for $2,300, I would actually budget another $1,000 on top of that. And that's just for anything that comes up on top of having to do plate, registrations, title, transfer, all that stuff. A lot of states, you know, that it might be cheaper, it might be more expensive. So if you're looking for a $3,000 car, I would have $4,000 saved up, right? And then whatever you get the car for, you use the rest of it to register it, legalize it, fix the stupid things that need to be fixed, and then drive it and enjoy it. So that's just my 2 cents of the things I do when I go to look at a car, right? So if you follow those steps as a guideline, I'm sure there's some things I might have missed, but these are just the basics, right? Here's just the things you're gonna go off of to you know, get you a general idea. If the motor feels like it's going to come out of the car because your motor mounts look like this, then budget that in, take it off the price. And don't be afraid to walk away, okay? Unless you're like 100% desperate, I wouldn't be pressured to buy it, okay? If they're anxious to get rid of it, it could be a problem too. But yeah, just if you're not jiving, if you're not digging the car, don't be afraid to walk away. Or if it's something that you really, really want, like maybe it's a Mazda Speed 3, and you've always wanted one of those cars for whatever reason, and you know, if you're a car person, you're probably going to buy it, and it's going to be a money pit. Let's be honest, it's going to happen. I've got a couple of them. Looking at you, Kit. But man, I love that car. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be quick and easy. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about this new format. Wednesdays is going to be advice, tool reviews, stuff like that. And then Friday is going to be the big upload with the things I do during the week. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. Tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. Do all that stuff that helps the channel out. And as always, be nice to each other, and you guys keep it between the ditches, and you come back and see me.